Good evening to all of you. And I want to thank Hindu Literature Festival for inviting me and having me and my mother right there. Mom, would you want to come there? Is it okay? Okay, sorry.
So, for me, reading this book as a gynecologist, being fully aware of the, as you put it, the survival rate of ovarian cancer, it's probably one of the worst cancers you can hope for if you have a choice. What really interested me was not so much your cure, but how you have not just thrived, but not just survived, but actually thrived post-cancer. And so could you tell us something about that?
Thank you for the question. Basically, I love this word, thriving. And all these things I learned only after cancer. And when I got diagnosed, I wasn't even sure that I would live. Because cancer is such a strong, scary disease, illness, that one really doesn't know. And mine was a late stage ovarian cancer, so it was pretty grave. And the treatment, the operation, everything. Also, during all that, my doctors couldn't tell me whether I would live and for how long I would live. Though I used to continuously pester them with these questions. And because I wanted to know. And it's only, I had to take a mental call of becoming stronger and started thinking, okay, being positive, collecting all strength from my loved ones, especially my mother, who's been my backbone throughout, and just hoping and praying and all that. And, I just didn't want to exist. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to reach out and to achieve the maximum potential of this life. Because cancer has shown it to me that this life is going to end someday. I don't know when, but it will. So as long as I live, I would want to thrive.
Yeah, you say, in fact, you say in your book that you reach that point in your hotel room where you cry because you see the state of your body, and that's when there was a shift and you started to become proactive in your management, which I think is kind of important. So can you tell us how you were proactive in your treatment and management?
Basically, decided to take action, decided to reach out to various people, started sending emails to them, even to the holistic healers, to various doctors, to various experts. And I started Googling, wanting to know if anybody else has survived my kind of cancer. So many things like that. And this started...
And was it encouraging? Was what you found encouraging?
Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
And when I finally got hold of my doctors, I did ask them, Doc, how come there are not enough encouraging, reports? Why there's only grief? So they actually had told me not to Google. They had actually told me, do not look for it, But me being curious and having lots of time in hand during treatment, I used to constantly, and I did find one or two people though.
Okay.
But it was much later on, I found.
Okay. And another thing that I kind of was quite interested and amused by in the book is, despite your the trauma that you were clearly going through, your eye for fashion seems to be very much intact, where she talks about sitting for chemotherapy and she's noticing the high fashion boots that the nurses have. So, yeah, that is part of your personality, I'm guessing.
Yes, honestly, when I was in that state, I wouldn't imagine that I would be sitting here, and healthy, and so I used to sit there waiting for my turn to come for chemotherapy, and I would see these beautiful nurses, wearing these Ugg boots because it used to be winter those days, and giggling and whispering, and some really light moment because it was a waiting section, not the chemo section, but the waiting area. And I used to actually feel sad for myself. I would say, when did I cross the line? I used to be on the other side. I used to be the fashionable one. I would be, and I today I'm sitting on the other side, and I don't know whether I'm going to live or die, and how in a split this thing life had changed.
Yeah. There's one paragraph here, Manisha, which you said was your opinion entirely, where you say, with apologies to those women who don't agree with me on this issue, I want to express myself freely here. I feel that the biggest gift nature has given a woman is that of motherhood. And I feel that becoming a mother brings a woman into full bloom and is one of the biggest assets that she can possess. So do you still feel that way? And you said that you tried.
I do feel it.
Yeah.
And before I got cancer, I was actually wanting to be a mother. And it's just that my biological clock was ticking, and I had crossed 40, and I've always wanted a child of my own. And when I got cancer, obviously now that it's not a possibility. So when I was writing this book, I really had to address this. I believe nature has gifted womankind with such a beautiful gift to create another human being, to be able to give birth to another life. And that I feel a huge vacuum now in my life. So that's why I felt I must address that, I must express without antagonizing anything, and without saying that women are much lesser, or say I'm any lesser just because I can't produce children.
Right, yeah.
But it's one of the biggest gifts that nature has given it to women.
Most women. Yeah. Yeah, and most women do feel that way. Most, not all, but most do feel that way. I also wanted to ask you about, like I said, you've come out of it and you look back and you talk very insightfully about all the things that you think may have contributed to your cancer.
Yeah, these are situation, because my book is pretty, it's a soul-searching journey for me, as well as, of course, my events, but it is also navigating through many things, and scientifically or clinically or whatever, it's not yet proven why certain people get cancer and whatever, but I had to make sense of why it had happened. And so what I understand of human life, of human body, is not only this physical body, but emotional, mental, psychological, and various other dimensions. And so understanding of that, I've tried to categorize it and put it in the book. Like I was really not really grateful for this life. I had a very complacent attitude. I had no clue that I will face death. I had no clue that I'll be so sick that I would be on the hospital bed for so long. The doctors wouldn't know whether I'm going to live or die. And I've tasted success. I've tasted being famous, and and also certain downs and whatever. But this was something which kind of made me really go back and forth, try to understand if I have in any ways contributed to my disease. And I feel I have. I feel in my attitude, my lifestyle, um, everything else was not really healthy. My emotional state, today I may have the similar heartbreaks or similar situation where I'm upset, but I will never now dwell in it. I will get rid of it there and then and move on. The ability to drop
Resentment.
any resentment, any upset, either you resolve it or you drop it. That's how I see. My lifestyle, was pretty, either work hard or party hard, and there was no rest. Absolutely zero rest. I'll give you, like, today, it's so different. I have just come in the morning, straight away I changed, went to the gym, but I know that I need to give myself rest. So in the plane, I took a nap. Then I went to a spa and pampered myself. So even though I'm exhausting my body, because early morning wake up, I'm training hard, I'm doing things, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of things that I want to achieve today, and it requires me to put in the hard work. But I also realize that I need to keep a balance, and which was lost those days. I would just push myself, and the body had to collapse.
And you did talk very candidly about relationships and the advice that you have for women about relationships. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's actually, all my life I've been wanting to be loved and asking people to love, or in my relationship to be loved. I realize whether that's going to happen or not happen, I need to begin with me. I need to start with here, loving myself, honoring myself. And that's where I feel, I don't know about men because I'm not a man, but we women tend to do things all the time, and so that we get appreciated, so that we get love, which is, I think, fine. But if you're standing strong in your own ground, and this is my learning. Whatever I speak, it's not for this thing. It's for me.
Sure.
I refrain from giving advices.
Sure.
So, what I realized that I have to value myself, and I need to prioritize myself before actually prioritizing somebody else. And love begins at home. And when you, I feel when you're wholesome, when you are this thing, probably deserving love will walk in, and probably not, God knows. But at least in that process, I don't feel depleted. In that process, I don't feel at loss, which I used to, because I was expecting other to, give that love to me.
Yeah. And do you think that that was part of the process of creating the negativity and creating the neediness, the loneliness, etc., etc.?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You said you're speaking from experience, and but actually today there is a lot of research that's showing exactly what you said in the book, which is what I'm finding so fascinating, you know, about your social connections. The fact that you had wonderful social
Yeah.
connect with your
Yeah.
parents and some close friends.
Yeah.
It has been shown that it's really important for recovery.
Yeah, during the process of recovery, uh, I, I mean, me, my family, everybody, all of us was so much
Close.
together. And this, I have to say, is a huge, huge blessing for me. And I was very lucky. I have adorable, strong parents. They're very polite on the external, but internally they've endured a lot of crap, I guess. So they're strong. And my brother is again hugely lovable, who for when he was growing up, I always thought that he was a brat, but
He turned out
but
to be,
turned out
yeah,
to be
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
strong,
yeah,
calm,
yeah,
and this thing.
yeah.
And I guess human connection, human relationships, friendship um, are
Utmost importance, yeah,
very,
yeah.
very important. And I also have to say this, that I asked many oncologists, and because I was very curious to know why certain patients do well and and certain don't. And they told, uh, mostly everybody have said that some people who do well, they have a very strong support. So there you go. And I
Yeah,
think there
yeah.
is a Harvard study also about
Yes,
people.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
A very long ongoing Harvard study, yeah.
yeah,
That's very true. And just going back a little bit for those who, to understand your whole cancer diagnosis, why did you leave it so long? Why did you not pick up, or did you not pick up the symptoms? Because you do
you
say
know,
that you were feeling uncomfortable and that you were not feeling too well.
I, uh, it just shows how ignorantly I was living. It just is a proof that I was living in a certain way which was not alert, which was not, on top,
Mindful.
mindful.
Yeah,
And the body is one of the most intelligent thing. And it was giving me signs and symptoms long before. I was falling sick, like a common cold I would get, and it will not go even with the medication for weeks. Whereas earlier I would, it'll last me 5-6 days. But here, a couple of weeks, it not go. And I would be so exhausted and tired, but I would still push myself because I didn't know better. And so I guess I was very, very ignorant and did not know how to listen to the sign and symptoms, the body which was sending continuously. And I was not alert at all.
at all, yeah. So what does it feel like coming back to Bollywood and, playing these roles which are very different from what you used to play, but stunningly amazing roles?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what does it feel like?
Well, this is my second inning. I would say the second inning to life, second inning in my career, and I'm very, very excited, and I want to give my full heart and my soul into it, and you know, I want to grab every opportunity that I get and do my 100% in it. Be it a film, be it just being present here with you all, be it anything, or the hiking that I'm going for. I mean
You
anything
said
and
you're going to
Everest
Mount
Base
Everest?
Camp
Okay, okay. And when is this?
in the month of April.
Okay, okay.
I'm training for that now.
Okay.
So it's actually pretty interesting because my classmates from Delhi Public School, Army Public School, Dhaula Coin from Delhi. One is married and she's a housewife in Canada. And one is in Delhi, she's one of the top designers. And the third one is me. So three of the women are getting together, and we all are training separately. And we'll all meet and go for the Everest base camp hike.
So do you go for your cancer reviews, and have they found it absolutely okay for you to do this?
Yeah, I
You're
guess
tracking
now it's 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
And I'm sure it's fine. I have checked with my doctor in Mumbai, and she has said it's fine. Yeah, but I need to prepare myself,
Yeah.
so I'm all geared up for that.
Yeah. There was something in the book, Manisha, where you talk about Dr. Narula, who came and spent time with you, and you asked her why, and she said to you that she hopes you will.
Yeah, that's
and
a
is that what you're doing?
wonderful incident. And it's just that, cancer taught me many lessons. And it showed me a different aspect of humanity. And one of the incidences was very, it's like a jewel, very moving, was when I had met Dr. Navneet Narula very briefly, and she would come and spend her Sundays with me. And I had actually expected a lot of my old friends to come and spend time, and they had not turned up. And there she was, spending her time. And so I was very curious, and I had asked her, I said, "You're not my fan and you're not my friend. Why are you doing this?" So she actually had turned around and said that Manisha ji, with the hope that you will do this to somebody else someday. I really realized the value of being present that time. So when we do things, when we give it some charity, it's not only money, it's your time, it's your attention, it's just letting the other person know that you're there for that person. That really is, valuable, and
Yeah.
I met such amazing people during that time.
Yeah. And you've also been very insightful about your friendships. Like you just said, you had friends who didn't come, but you talk about how you perhaps were not such a good friend.
Yes.
So
That's, again, a huge lesson. But that happened to me when I was at a spiritual place at Oneness University. And
where is this one?
it's actually,
You said Chennai, which I was
it's
quite
outskirts.
Okay.
From the airport, Chennai airport, it takes 2 hours.
Okay.
And right now, I think they are based in Neman somewhere. But, I got a lot of time to reflect over there. And so I was carrying resentment, I was carrying hurt, I was carrying disappointment. And I was thinking, after all, I didn't have good friends. But then I started doing little soul searching, and I realized I wasn't the friend that I wanted my friends to be. I wasn't that friend. I was hardly present in their times. And I was also not comfortable in staying in other people's crisis, or whenever they faced a health crisis or anything, I would be there, but not wholesomely, not as a solid person, not like a solid support. So that's when I realized that, you need to be that, so then
Two-way street.
to receive it.
Yeah. So what are you doing now to take this forward, as Dr. Narula said to you?
Well, in my own small little capacity, I keep on doing here and there.
Yeah,
The, for instance, I mean, because cancer is this thing, something that I was affected by, I try to donate whatever money I can. So proceeding of this book, Healed, everything that I earn goes to charity.
Okay. Okay.
And in whatever capacity, I mean, I get involved. And when, it doesn't have to be, what I realized that it doesn't have to be money all the time. It just, when somebody needs you, you are there for that person, whether it's a friend or a person who works for you, or, you basically just being concerned, being a human, being, just being useful
And
in whatever
giving
capacity.
hope, giving hope to cancer patients.
Absolutely, absolutely. And giving hope to people.
Yeah.
And, basically I realized that human beings have a lot of capacity to endure pain, to overcome obstacles. And I think,
Get
you know,
better.
so I really want to tell everybody that, this is a precious life. And make the
That you-
use of it, and use this life to be completely fulfilled,
Can you tell us something about your diet today, Manisha? Just to kind of...
My diet?
Yeah.
Okay, today, honestly speaking, I just
No,
had
not today as in
plain
today.
dosa and sambar. So
No, I don't mean today as in today, generally. Yeah. But plain dosa and sambar is good.
I love South Indian food. Mother and me both are. But normally, I don't stick to a particular kind, but whatever the need of the hour that time is. Like, since July, I was on a keto diet. Keto basically is no carb and no sugar, and which they say is great for cancer patient. And it's called intermittent fasting, where all these are new researches and new this thing. So, but I also heard about doing keto for longer period of time may not be healthy. So I've done it for some time. I became the weight that I wanted to be, and after that I left it on the side. And now I shuffle between eating healthy food. But I have turned, I had turned vegetarian for the longest, but now I started eating a little bit of fish and eggs. But I try and eat organic as much as possible. 80%, 70 to 80% my meals are fresh vegetables and little fruit. I love fruit, but fruit again is a lot of glucose, a lot of sugar, so limited amount. And fresh fish, and maximum I try and get organic as much as possible.
Okay. And what about your exercise routine?
I used to walk a lot, and I would love to walk into the hills and mountains and go for hiking. If I'm shooting somewhere, like I shot Dear Maya in Shimla, excuse me. So I would, in my off days, hire a guide and who hotel had recommended and everything, looking after safety and security, everything. But we would map out the terrain to go and hiking and trekking and all that. So I did that. In Nepal also, I go out of Kathmandu Valley into the hills. I have few friends who like these things, so I go with them. And now, I was just complaining to my mom for the last couple of days. I've been started training because I have to make my legs really strong for upward. So now I'm training with the trainer. So it all again varies from what is the need of the hour is, but I strongly recommend being active physically. Also has helped me to recover.
To get back.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you got back to walking and all of that quite soon after your chemotherapy.
Yes.
In fact,
during chemotherapy itself. Over there in America, what they do is they they don't allow you to, after surgery, they don't allow you to lie on bed for too long. They actually force you to get up and start walking third or
In the
fourth
room.
day itself, maybe second, third day itself. And I mean, you need to be active.
So do you feel stronger today than you did before?
Yes, absolutely. I feel much stronger. I feel my willpower is stronger as well, and
Your willpower
willpower.
to sustain a routine and
Yeah,
okay.
and I'm more sharper in terms of, um, I guess, mindful in terms of what my body is saying,
Requires, yeah,
and
yeah.
careful and caring towards this body, so
Whose value you've realized.
absolutely.
And can you tell us some of the other practices, like your spiritual practice? For instance, it's clearly held you in good stead. As a
Yes.
family, you all seem to be quite spiritual, religious.
Yeah, from my mother's side of family is very spiritual, and during my illness, I saw how strongly rooted her faith is in divine, and I try to imbibe that. But me being me, with other japas that I was doing, I was also doing my own concoction of japas, and just positive affirmations, visualizations, and having strong faith in divine, developing the connection with the divine. Um, I feel overall, because I realize the importance of wholesome healing. So, if one aspect my doctors were looking after, which was giving me proper medication and my physical this thing, it was my responsibility to start
Do the
healing
rest.
on the other levels.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where everything became more intense, and everything became far more like I would do it with 100% belief and faith than I would do it otherwise.
So what would be your advice to patients who are recovering? Not advice, what would you say that you need to include for people who are recovering, not necessarily from cancer, but from any illness?
Well, I feel, first of all, I feel when the illness happens to us, there is certain kind of disharmony which is happening for a long period of time in our lives, which we don't pay attention to, and eventually the body, gives in, and
Succumbs.
there are illnesses and diseases. So going back to the root of the problem is very necessary. It's really, really important. And sometimes it's not always about the physical body. It could be at the emotional level. It could be mental level. It could be anything. So being mindful, being really brave enough to address it to yourself. We don't have to address it to the whole world, but to ourselves, to accept, okay, this area of my life hasn't actually gone well. So many times we know that people who've got through some kind of stress or financial problems or workload or relationship load, they actually do fall sick. And whether it's a heart attack or whether it's this or whether it's that, but something really serious happened. So we need to address where is in our life we are not 100% confident about, where it is not going right, and start, while looking after our physical body, we should try and focus about other
Other aspects
aspects
of-
as
yeah.
well.
So stress is also a very important factor in cancer, and I am a real victim of stress because I can't manage time that well, and when all deadlines keep up at one point, I really don't know what to do then, and I find myself binge eating. I find myself not sleeping properly. So how do you deal with stress at that level when you have so much to deal with and multitask?
Yeah, I'm basically, I do lose it sometimes too. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. I'm also learning all the time. But I am very, very conscious about what are the things which is giving me stress and what are the things, how do I resolve that? So if I know I have to achieve that goal, and the deadline is approaching and my stress level shooting, I also know what are the things I can do to just lesser the damage. So like I have to sleep, 7, 8, 9 hours. I exercise, I do pranayam, I do meditation, try and eat healthy. They say gut health is very important. Try and eat healthy. Try and eat not so spicy and not so, just basically do things which can calm me down. So the various time I apply various methods, and if everything according to me is not falling into the place, I have good people around me. I always call them and say, okay, I'm going through this, please help me. And people are all so shy to ask for help. I think it's a must to ask for a help. You know.
Of all the programs today that we had, your talk is the one which has drawn very few questions, because what you talk goes to our heart, not to our mind.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
Hello.
you.
Hi, ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Well, recovering from cancer, you need the prayers of family, friends, and one's force also. People say, we pray for you, we pray for your recovery. Our prayers are with you. But how important is, they'll say dua dena and they'll say paisa dena.
How important it
Financial assistance, the practical side of it.
So besides the prayer, you're saying financial aspect? Okay, I feel both are very important. I'm a firm believer of prayers, but it'll be really silly that only prayers and we don't act upon it.
The practical side.
And so of course financial assistance, so that we get a good treatment, so that we can go to a good doctor, is required, and luckily for me, I had worked. God's been kind that I had worked and I had saved money. Even though at times I didn't know why was I saving, I guess I was saving for this. So financial assistance, of course, is required, but do not underestimate the power of prayers. I'm a full believer of that. Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. You had portrayed Nargis Dutt in Sanju, and I feel like you also have an incredible story to tell. So suppose a biopic is made on your life, which among the newer generation actresses would you prefer to star in it?
I really have no idea, but this question was asked, I guess, Alia Bhatt. I love her performance. I think she's so adorable and she's so natural performer, So, yeah.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Louise Hay, she's the author of the popular book,
I know.
You Can Heal Yourself. And she herself is a cancer survivor. And she writes in her book, not to hold on to resentment. You talk about not holding on to resentment. Holding on to resentment, yes, associated with cancer probably, but it leads to a whole lot of other diseases also, illnesses also. And it's easy to say, do meditation, do yoga, go for walks, involve yourself in things that make you happy, and you will overcome resentment. It's easy to say that, but how doable is it? What would you tell? I mean, I'm sure everyone in this audience is holding on to some resentment or the other. Everyone, or at least some of them.
Even me. but it's like I don't let it suck me. I don't let it dissuade from enjoying this life and being grateful. So it's human nature to be hurt. And what is your exact question? I'll get on to the answering it, but
Okay, so how can we practically overcome resentment?
okay. I had to, it was not only resentment, there was a lot of other issues with me. I had realized the value of not having negative feeling. Louise Hay's name you've taken, whose books I was reading a lot during those days. And she actually, in one of the books, she has told that ovarian cancer is connected to creativity also. So it was necessary for me to heal. And so I realized for me it was important to have a creative expression. So that writing a book is also part of
Was
that.
that a real-
Yeah. See, resentment, hurt, anger, all that are everything that is very normal to us. We are human beings and we will always have that. But also we have a capacity to love and forgive and work upon ourselves with awareness, with mindfulness. So always we have a choice how to respond. If the hurt is there, do we do we keep on digging that hurt and being engulfed with that? Or say, okay, there is hurt. We will work around it. I will deal with this. And get on with life, get on with other positive aspects. And don't always look at the negative, because somebody or the other will disappoint you. Your disappointments, this will happen. It is part of our life. But where do we focus our attention to? To love or to hurt? That is in that we need to cultivate.
Manisha.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Manisha,
ma'am.
this is a question for you, Manisha.
Okay.
Here.
Where are you?
I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
Well, two things that happen to people when they are told cancer. First is denial. And immediately they ask, why me, to God? And the next thing that happens to most people after that denial, they rush to the nearest God man and so on. And lastly, did suicide ever pass through your mind when you are desperately wanting to resolve this problem of cancer? Because most people know that treatment or not, cancer can be a killer. So how did you react to that?
So second is denial, third is suicide, first is what? Which one? What is this thing? First one? Why me?
Yeah. Most people ask, why me?
Right. I never actually got to a point of asking why me. But denial, definitely. I feel, I thought I was misdiagnosed. I thought the doctors probably had not done a proper diagnosis, and maybe the machines were wrong. And so I was in denial for some time, and I couldn't accept it. And I thought maybe it's it's easier, cut and throw it away, and all those things happened to me. I didn't realize the seriousness of it. And I had got cancer, so why would I think of suicide? So it's already so,
Hello.
One thing,
Hello,
Manisha.
This
ma'am.
will have to be the last question.
Yeah, Manisha,
May I?
I'll put my question in two parts. First, the moment you came to know that you have cancer, and the time doctors told you that, okay, now we have done the tests and you are completely cured, it was how much duration?
cured, I have not been told.
Okay.
Till now. And I am the one who kept on asking my doctor, even, when will I be cured? When I'll be cured? The doctors turned around at the end when they got fed up of my question. They said, after 10 years. So I still have 4 more years to go before doctor can clearly say that I'm cured. But I'm not waiting for them to give me saying you're cured. I consider myself already cured.
So, this is really heartening to know, and I would like to just ask a question related to this. कि जब आप treatment में थे, जब आप chemotherapy में थे, फिर आप चलने लगे, तो when you are undergoing that intense treatment, today like all of us go through very tough times. or when we are going through that, it looks like a yugam. It looks to be very long.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult to keep faith in yourself and, keep trudging on.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice? Because, when we are going through these tough times, how do you keep faith and keep moving on?
Yeah, I was very lucky to have a strong mother, strong father, strong brother, and there was a time when I couldn't take the pain anymore, and I begged my mom. I told my mom, I said, Mom, if this is the kind of pain I have to endure, I can't do it. Let me, stop the treatment. And she basically said, nothing doing. So I had a very strong family support. I was blessed with that. So seeing them, I really had encouragement. I took strength from them. And that kept me going on and on and on. But I have to say one thing, that whenever we all face that, okay, we can't take it anymore, probably Divine is testing us a little bit. And have faith and push a little more. Because, there is, silver lining at the end of the tunnel. I believe in that. There is hope. It's just that we don't see it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So
as your
Thank you so much.
So as your fan,
We'll
I would
have
say
to
only
wind
say
up.
tum jiyo hazaron saal, saal ke dino 50,000.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
So thank you so much, Manisha, for your very, very insightful thoughts that you have expressed today and given hope to people, not just for cancer, but, to say that we can thrive after fall.
Yes.
I think that's the message that needs to go out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can not just survive, but thrive as well.
Yeah.
So
Not just survive, but thrive.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really believe in
yeah,
that.
yeah. So that's wonderful.